Hello. When a society is increasingly being filled with violent crime, then it is time to do a critical analysis of the situation. And that's our business tonight on Weekend File. Good evening and welcome to the program. It's indeed nice to see you once again. The nation has recently witnessed several incidences of armed banditry in cities and communities, making them vulnerable to incessant attacks by gunmen. Many Nigerians have lost their lives, others maimed, while properties worth billions of naira have been stolen or destroyed by armed bandits across the nation. These armed bandits are involved in abduction, rape, rustling of livestock, kidnapping and killing of innocent people using some form of arms, including rifles, machete, knives, bows and arrows. In fact, armed banditry has proved to be a diverse and heterogeneous crime shaped by the presence or absence of a wide range of characteristics. Experts believe that armed banditry requires good understanding of the nature of the crimes, because usually past attempts to understand armed robbery, for instance, have focused on the offenders primarily through interviews of the already incarcerated offenders to gain insight into their motivation and planning, ignoring the vulnerabilities of the victims. And so tonight, we will examine the rise of armed banditry in our society and possible effective preventive strategies. That's the outlook of tonight's program. Thank you for joining us. My name is Kirin Umayo. And now the news of the day. Latest report from the Gambia says the embattled former Gambian President Yahya Jammeh has left the State House in company of his mother, wife Zainab, son Mohammed, and President Alpha Conte. He left the State House hours after announcing he was finally ceding power to his successor, Adama Barrow. Reports say Jammeh met with his close aides and some members of his party before he was driven out of the presidential compound, headed for the Coco Ocean Hotel outside the capital. Agency reports have it that a Mauritanian aircraft has been stationed at the airport tarmac in Yundum to fly Mr. Jammeh and his immediate family into exile in Guinea, where the former Gambian leader will take temporary refuge before deciding on a permanent country of exile. Earlier in the day, Jammeh announced on national television that he is ready to leave power, but was initially reluctant to take asylum, preferring to stay in the Gambia.
It is as a result of this that I have decided today, in good conscience, to relinquish the mantle of leadership of this great nation with infinite gratitude to all Gambians, women, children, youth and men, and friends of the Gambia who have supported me for 22 years in the building of a modern Gambia. I put above all and everything the independence of the free and proud people of the Gambia, and I will always, together with you, defend this independence that we so dearly fought for and won.
This decision is expected to end the political impasse and will likely be welcomed by democracy advocates and viewed as a triumph for African diplomacy. Gambian President Adama Barrow has said that the acceptance by Yahya Jammeh to step down and leave the country is a welcome development, but one that was necessary because the whole world was united against an affront to democracy. He spoke in an exclusive interview with correspondent Makud Simon Macham in Dakar, Senegal.
Well, Your Excellency, after your victory, events took a different turn, necessitating even your stay in this country and so on and so forth. But reports yesterday indicate, or early this morning indicate that finally your predecessor has agreed to finally leave the scene. What's your reaction, sir?
He have agreed to leave the scene because he have no other option. All international bodies, ECOWAS, the AU, UN, everybody have the same stand. You cannot challenge the whole world. He leave power because there was the military intervention from the international, and he cannot stand that. That's why he have to give up power. It was a condition. It's either you leave or we kick you out. That was the fact. And we have no option but to leave. We preached peace for the past 6-7 weeks, but he was not listening. And ECOWAS were firm in their decision. That's why he have to leave. And I think it was a good move by ECOWAS. We don't want this one to set precedent. That will bring other problems. And we are happy that it was solved at the African level. It's good for Africa. It's good for the world. We set a very good example. I think basically that's all about it.
Makut will bring us more details of that interview subsequently on the NTA. And to further discuss the Gambian situation, I am joined in the studio by Professor Chudi Zurike, a political scientist. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you very much.
All right, now after all the grandstanding, Yaya Jammeh has finally left Gambia. What is your reaction?
Well, I'm very impressed at how this is playing out. Remember, it has not fully all played out. He hasn't quite left Gambia, but maybe by the time we're done, he will be on his way from the island or from the hotel. This is a triumph for Pan-Africanism. It's also a triumph for the whole idea of ECOWAS and ECOMOG. They could come to a policy agreement of a technical military nature such as this and actually stick with it and carry it out. At the third level, it's also a triumph for democracy. If we are speaking of the third liberation of Africa from the dark days of colonialism and even the more troubling days of military regimes in Africa to a more open society, this is one affirmation that Africa for Africans can actually be a concept that can actually work, that Africans can defend democracy. Part of the weakness of democracy is that very few people are willing to defend it. So when we see our leaders, and this is what is very impressive, at the very highest levels, led by President Buhari, but also Mahama of Ghana, and of course the new person in Ghana, as well as the Senegalese and the Mauritanians and the whole range of other, then maybe a new sensibility has come over West Africa that we need to grab right now. So this is a teachable moment in history.
Now, could this be described as a triumph of dialogue and diplomacy as against the use of force?
It is a triumph of diplomacy backed by force. Remember, we're talking of potential force, incipient force. I mean, Jammeh was surrounded, as a matter of fact. He didn't have much of a choice. But I would say very clearly that one of the things we need to learn is that a very reluctant, bull-headed president, even in a small country like Gambia, can do a lot of harm if he refuses to go. He probably has his booby traps, his supporters, and so on. So it's a triumph of diplomacy. But remember that diplomacy without force basically cannot go too far.
Now, what lessons, for other African leaders?
Well, the main lesson is don't try to be a Jammeh. Don't try to be a Mobutu. Remember, this is not the first time we've seen this in Africa. It's been a constant reference. We thought we're moving away gradually from it. But you see the situation in Congo that eventually had to be managed and so on. Even the games that were played in Uganda and Rwanda leave a very sour taste. But I think Africans, as we mature democratically, really don't have time for this kind of thing anymore. There's no support for Jammeh at all, and there'll be no support for people whose term of office has ended, and who keep on trying to cling to power.
All right, let's thank you at this point for sharing your knowledge of African politics on Weekend File. Professor Chudi Wazirike is a political scientist.
Political sociologist and international affairs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, continuing with the news now, the House Committee on Public Accounts has resolved to summon the Minister of Finance for explanations on the operations of the accounts of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission. The invitation was part of resolutions of the committee during a public hearing on the activities of the commission. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo has that report.
The public hearing is in response to 3 queries raised against the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission by the Auditor General of the Federation. During the question and answer session, the Commission explained that its account is now being operated by a firm contracted by the World Bank under a procurement department domiciled in the Ministry of Finance.
They are consultants retained by the World Bank because of the loan the federal government took from the World Bank.
But the committee members were not comfortable that a non-government employee is operating the accounts of a government agency.
Because we need explanation on how you authorize somebody who is not even a federal government employee, not even an employee, to be operating an account for an MDA.
The committee also directed the Commission to apply to First Bank to suspend any transaction on the bank account till the investigation is concluded. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Troops of the Nigerian army killed 15 Boko Haram terrorists whose supposed coordinated data position was responsible for the wrong airstrike in Ran, internally displaced persons camp in Borno State. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Toko Buratai, disclosed this while on a routine visit to the site. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa was there.
This is Ran, internally displaced persons camp in Kalabolge local government area of Borno State. Precisely here, the Nigerian Air Force fighter jet mistakenly dropped bombs meant for the enemy, the Boko Haram terrorist group. Though it is not a conventional camp with erected tents, Ran, the headquarters of Kalabolge local government area, is about 175 kilometers from Maiduguri, the state capital, and 8 kilometers to Cameroon.
Aeroplane come through, he pass. He just come back again, he throw another one. So when all of us we look, we just fire, we burn the house. We did well now.
Kalabolge, with road network either destroyed by the insurgents or dilapidated, was the last area to be liberated from the control of Boko Haram on the 22nd March 2016. During the last attack on the 19th January 2017, 15 terrorists were killed, with one who could only speak French arrested.
Intelligence information we got from our partners is that the Boko Haram terrorists were moving into this place. It must be the information that that was gotten and passed to the air component for them to take necessary action. And unfortunately, it's a mistake which can happen.
Addressing troops, Lieutenant General Tukul Buratai promised to improve their welfare and logistics. From Ran, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And in neighboring Yobe State, Nigerians have been asked to complement government's efforts in alleviating the sufferings of victims of insurgency. This came to the fore during the presentation of skills acquisition materials to the victims, especially widows, by Senator representing Yobe South, Mohammed Hassan. Mustafa Yusuf Musa reports that the victims of the Potiskum market fire disaster also benefited.
As the Boko Haram insurgency is gradually coming to an end in Yobe State and the northeast sub-region, leaving behind its wake hundreds of thousands of affected people, the need to restore means of livelihood of widows and vulnerable people become imperative. To this end, 200 women were selected, trained in skills acquisition, and subsequently empowered in Yobe State by the senator representing Yobe South, Mohammed Hassan, in collaboration with the National Directorate of Employment. Apart from receiving certificate of training, each beneficiary went home with 50,000 naira as startup capital in addition to collecting employment tools such as grinding and sewing machines.
President Muhammadu Buhari has urged Nigerian universities to embark on aggressive and result-oriented research in collaboration with government agencies and private sector on the development of entrepreneurial skills of the youth for job and wealth creation. This was in a message to the 6th convocation ceremony of the National Open University of Nigeria, NOUN, in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports.
The National Open University of Nigeria is a non-residential nature of acquiring knowledge which its administrators say provides a flexible and self-controlled learning system. Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission Professor Abubakar Adamu Rashid represented President Muhammadu Buhari. He said one of the objectives of the administration is to promote the orientation of the teeming youth on the need to acquire the skills and attitude of entrepreneurship for self-reliance to stem the tide of seeking for white-collar jobs.
That the task of revamping our economy will require the critical roles of academics in areas of research and innovations that are required to shift the emphasis of our country from an oil-dependent to a technology-driven economy.
Pro-Chancellor of the University, Ami Ebute, and the Chancellor Igwe Chikeze Lawrence Agubuzo noted the progress the institution has made in giving opportunities to candidates who could not have been admitted in the conventional universities. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Abdullah Oba Adamu, said the aggressive pursuit of excellence of the university has been noticed internationally.
We emphasize the fact that we are a full-time open and distant learning ODL institution, not correspondence or part-time as erroneously ascribed to us.
A total of 12,125 students in various fields graduated. 31 of them came out with first class. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
The Federal Road Safety Corps says it is redoubling efforts to achieve its 2017 strategy goals by ensuring effective service delivery and surpass successes of the past years. Corps Marshal of the FRC, Boboyo Oyeyemi, said this at the first 2017 strategy session for management and zonal commanding officers of the Corps across the country, held at the Corps headquarters in Abuja. Patricia Esamiluba has more.
Enhancing public education, advocacy and enlightenment, strengthening professionalism and transparency, road safety administration advancement, as well as improving enforcement and post-crash care are the 4 FRC strategy goals for the year 2017. To the FRC Corps Marshal, the intent of this meeting is for these leaders to be more resilient at achieving the goals as the Corps remains focused on its mandate of maximally bringing down fatalities.
The management of the Federal Safety Corps, we gave a commitment. We told the government and the public that nobody will sleep on the road. And we assured all Nigerians that all obstructions, whatever it takes, based on the directive of Mr. President, will ensure smooth flow of traffic. And we're able to fulfill this promise.
While thanking the federal government for all logistics support, Boboye Oyeyemi also commended the motoring public for their cooperation, saying these are key to the achievements recorded in the year 2016. Patricia Esamiluba, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Now to the business of the day. Besides terrorism and insurgency occasioned by the Boko Haram phenomenon in the northern part of the country, the militancy in the Niger Delta, the Nigerian government and security agencies have had their cup full. Banditry in form of armed robbery, cattle rustling, herdsmen farmers clash and kidnapping is another phenomenon which threatens public safety. Stay with us as we take a closer look at this right after this break.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok school girl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list. Starting now. Get to the door. Congratulations, you have passed the test. Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge. Gioni M6, always in power.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain, fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
Pump it up while your feet are stomping and the jam is pumping. Look at the crowd is jumping. Pop a jam and push up your hand. You know, say me pass the clip, you like sound. Jump up and dance, make them understand. Say me energy could never be contraband. Dancing like I'm excited because I'm on your heart like that. All I'm on say me fighting.
Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
Hello dear, you've got the first signs of a sore throat.
Yes, and I'm afraid it could be signs of a sore throat.
Don't you worry, just act immediately, but not with non-medicated throat sweets. Take an expert product, take Strepsils. Look at what it does to sore throat germs compared to a throat sweet. Strepsils not only stops the germs from multiplying, it even kills them.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, sore throat. Stop a sore throat early. Take Strepsils.
The Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Well, thank you for staying with us on Weekend File up till this moment. As the country continues to record major victories over the Boko Haram insurgency, armed banditry has continued to pose a challenge to the nation. In this background report, Edina Justice examines issues involved and efforts in curtailing this ugly trend. Well, we're sorry for the loss of audio in that report. Zamfara State has, in the last 6 years, been at the mercy of the activities of cattle rustlers, armed bandits and kidnappers who had incessantly attacked various communities, leading to loss of lives and property. Jamil Ibrahim tells us more about that.
The escalation of cattle rustling and armed banditry in Zamfara State could be traced back to sometimes in 2011. When a Fulani man, Alhaji Maju, suspected to be a cattle rustler, was gruesomely murdered at Ansaro Emirate of Maru local government area by some members of the outlawed vigilante. The phenomenon metamorphosed to a series of deadly raids and reprisal attacks.
I met the situation so disturbing because there will be no day that I will not receive a report of these armed bandits attacking innocent persons.
All Farmers Association of Nigeria Zamfara State chapter also estimated that over 250,000 hectares of lands were left uncultivated in the 2016 rainy season, as dwellers of most of the affected communities had abandoned their farms and flee for safety. The latest attacks on some communities in Maru, Maradun, Shinkafi and Zurme local government areas late last year, when Governor Abdulaziz Yari confirmed the deaths of more than 500 persons in a statewide broadcast, called for an ardent need for all stakeholders to go back to the drawing board. Consequently, Zamfara State government, in collaboration with security agencies, came up with a peace initiative led by the State Deputy Governor Malam Ibrahim Okala to reconcile the armed Fulani herdsmen with their vigilante group counterparts for peace to reign in the state.
Since we have started this peace process, up to now there is no any report of such cases. I am optimistic that by the grace of God, peace will reign in our domain.
NTA News observed that normalcy is gradually returning to the affected communities, that the rural markets have resumed business, with Fulani nomads and the Hausa engaging in fruitful transactions, as the royal fathers expressed optimism that the dialogue would eventually lead to a lasting peace in their domains. In Gusau, Jamil Ibrahim, NTA News.
And Oyeyinka Fularami reports on steps being taken to tackle the menace in the southwest of Nigeria.
One of the numerous communities in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, is Kukumada Ogungbade in Egbeda local government area, which residents said has over the years been plagued with the activities of armed robbers in broad daylight and at night.
Now and then, nearly every day, you will see car snatching. Even bandits will come to fallow lands, making troubles.
Those people that were left behind were those without options. People that managed to build a house, probably within a decade, they will not wish to leave such a house in a hurry.
Other residential areas affected are Olode, Amuro, Ibugbetutu, Aladun, Iletuntun, and Okegberi, to mention but a few, which play host to these armed men on a regular basis, being a link route to other neighboring states in the southwest.
The government have even give us police, but I think it's not enough.
Need what is called public awareness about police officers, because the police are trying their best and they are working, even though there is an acute shortage of manpower.
And from Ogbomoso, Femi Afari Ogun, and Dayo Ogunshola report that incessant clashes between farmers and herdsmen are common, especially in Agmoda community of Orire local government. They spurred Shoun of Ogbomoso, Oboladunni Ajagungbade III, and the state police command to summon a peace talk before the matter was brought under control. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Folaranmi reporting for Weekend File.
Reports from Niger State indicate that at least 22 communities have been displaced as a result of either communal clash, armed banditry or kidnapping. This has resulted to the opening of 3 IDP camps to cater for over 12,000 of the displaced persons. Momso Damian Dati has the situation report.
The case of some communities in Shiroro local government area is, however, spectacular, as some of the villagers were compelled to permanently relocate their families and property to neighboring villages, safer and farther from continuous attacks and harassment from armed bandits who either steal their cows and property or kidnap their loved ones and demand ransom.
What is happening now is rampant. Sometimes they will go to a village, harass them, collect their cows. They will shoot guns.
They are kidnapping and also they are raping girls of, you can see they will even rape a girl of 7 years, 10 years, or they can even rape a married woman self.
The worst of these incidences, which resulted to many fleeing without any preparation, attracted the intervention of Niger State government through its State Emergency Management Agency, which confirmed that 22 communities have been affected and 3 IDP camps opened with various degrees of intervention, totaling over 42 million naira provided already.
Then government will look inward to see how it can provide relief materials to the affected victims, considering the economic situation in the country.
We expect a lot of health challenges, so we intend to be here to be able to respond quickly and appropriately to the challenges that we may face here.
Efforts made by joint security operations in the state is, however, yielding results.
Other robberies which have to do with highway robberies and whatever categorized, we had 41. 93 suspects were arrested. So under kidnapping, we had 63 cases.
The joint security operation is still ongoing in most of the affected communities. In Mina, Momso Damian Dati, NTA Weekend File.
And from Enugu, Beauty Ehobemem reports that the situation in the southeast geopolitical zone is, however, minimal.
The Commandant Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Enugu State Command, explains that Enugu State is calm except for the recent attacks by herdsmen.
We are in synergy with all the security agencies in the state to checkmate every form of armed banditry, because we have already been out. Our rapid response team has been reinvigorated.
Report from Oka indicates that while terrorism is minimal in Anambra State, citizens have to contend with robberies and kidnapping, often carried out with arms and other weapons. The State Commissioner of Police, Sam Okalu, said cases of banditry and violent crimes in the state are comparatively low.
As I talk to you now, we don't have any cases of banditry in this state. They should collaborate with us. They should be able to volunteer information that will help us to nip crime in the bud.
The Ebonyi State Police Command is saying that with intensified surveillance, sensitization and intelligence gathering by the command in recent past, the state has not recorded any criminal case involving the use of arms.
The number of patrols we do are increased. There are so many outfits, that are being set up or introduced by the Inspector General of Police at that level.
According to a report from Imo State, 2015 witnessed an upsurge in banditry, which took the collaboration of stakeholders to stem.
In 2015, the situation was terrible, it was bad, and since we picked up the gauntlet, with cooperation of my colleagues, my fellow senior officers, including junior officers, we did a lot of orientation.
We know the actual cause of the conflict. Then we move and have audience with the herdsmen.
For now, various state governments have been donating patrol vehicles and other facilities to the police and other security agencies to fight the Hydra-headed monster.
Neighborhood Watch is also inaugurated in all the local government.
In Enugu, Beauty Ehobemem, NTA Weekend File.
You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. We now take another break. Our discussion segment comes up thereafter.
The The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
So what's up, sweetheart? You really look like you're up to something.
I have a secret.
Okay.
I'll be going to Europe next week.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like you have your visa, your passport, your plane ticket?
No, not that way. Some men are helping us. We pay them, they take us through the desert, and then we cross the sea into Europe.
The desert, the sea. Isn't that the route where many have died?
Yes, it is indeed a very dangerous journey. In 2016 alone, 4,900 people died while crossing the Mediterranean Sea to enter Europe. Many were Nigerians. For the very few who survived the journey, they are forced into prostitution or other crimes just to survive. Eventually, they will be arrested and deported to Nigeria. Don't be a victim. Don't go this way.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
You're welcome back. Now, joining me in the studio is the Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations, Habila Joshak, to discuss some of the issues. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
All right. Now, from the police perspective, what do you attribute these senseless crimes to?
Well, this senseless crime that is being perpetrated could be called people that are criminals, and those also who are not patriotic, and those of them also that inordinate ambition for getting rich, and people who do not want to respect the rights and sanctity of life in the society.
Now, it started with the so-called unknown gunmen, then herdsmen attacks. Some villages have been sacked. It does appear that these bandits are having a field day.
Well, it is not true to conclude that these bandits are having a field day. It's true that initially the picture that was painted was not clearly understood. For once, we never knew that there could be a gang that would take arms against another community, and without actually some reasons that one could adduce. But we've realized that, and there are a lot of concerted effort, and for every incident in this community, the police and other security agencies, including the military, have always responded. And we think also that templates that we put in place, we will continue to ensure that we improve upon that to respond swiftly to such incident.
Now, kidnapping is a big part of this armed banditry.
There's a very thin line between those that perpetrate this kind of crime, that come in to attack a village and attempt to sack that village. These same people also would want to have some money. I mean, kidnapping is one of the lucrative criminal activities that people can take to in order to earn some money, to be able to also fund some other criminal activities, because it's less risky compared to armed robbery. We're getting on that, and we have trends, and quite a number of those that have done that have been arrested.
It's now been regular, to hear that repentant bandits have, embraced peace, yet the crime persists.
Yeah, there is some progress in some states, particularly Zamfara, where the effort of the government and the security agencies and the military have yielded results. First of all, you have to push them to the wall and let them stay without a choice. And then if you do that and sincerely, and if members of the citizens of that state or members of that community are able to synergize with the police, you know, security is not the exclusive responsibility of the police alone. And so I think we've cultivated a lot of what I may call stakeholders, and we've also seen that a lot of people are ready to volunteer and also even follow and show where exactly these people are. And that has been responsible for people who do not have any place to go and have surrendered.
Now, DIG Joshua, the kind of weapons being brandished by these criminals are sophisticated. Now, has the police been able to, to trace the source of such weapons?
Yeah, you know, this issue of weapons carried by criminal gang in the name of either headsmen or those of them who hide under the ECOWAS protocol of 1998, that they have the free movement, and also the constitution of this country that guarantee free movement so long as you move to pursue legitimate business. This, some of these things are a fallout from neighboring countries. You remember the incident of the Niger, where we had some criminal gangs, or what I may call insurgents. We also have the Tuaregs in Mali, and of course the Libyan, the Gaddafi saga. We could trace this to the fallout from the insurgents and criminal activities and some political and economic activities that has brought some
weapons into the country.
Yes.
So there are gun runners doing that business in the country. How can they be traced?
Well, if there are gun runners, of course we haven't gotten that, but our intelligence is that it is these members of those countries that have found their way into our porous borders.
Okay.
And they may have done that in the past, before this time. But I can assure you, per second, the security agencies and all intelligence agencies, including the military, on the watch.
Now, we have all kinds of bandits, highway bandits, rural bandits who attack, loot, rape, and burn down villages. In fact, in some cases, they are government of their own, taxing communities, and all of that. So why should that persist?
Well, quite frankly, you are right to have expressed and described this so. But I'll tell you that the police and other security agencies, including the military, cannot do this alone. And that's why we're saying that you must be a protector of yourself. You must be very, very passionate about your community and its safety. And this is what we're singing. And that's why the Inspector General of Police, in his wisdom, inaugurated what we call the Eminent Persons Forum, where we have people that have worked in government, people that have been responsible in the past for taking decisions, those of them that have participated in security, will be able to sensitize that community for them that when you see anything that is not usual, you should report. Otherwise, the gap that is left where security agencies and others are not there, people are likely to exploit that. And so the trend is that these are the things that were happening, but we've come to terms with reality that these people must be routed. And don't forget that all we need to do is to ensure that these people are arrested. So I think that it's not a war, and I also think too that we're strategizing with other security agencies on this.
Now, some say police are overwhelmed, and some also say that the citizen-police ratio, is highly disappropriate. Is how many policemen to a Nigerian? Right. So
well, I want to disagree with you that yes, we have that factor, and I think the government have demonstrated the willingness. Haven't made a report. The Inspector General of Police have been given that leverage, as you are aware. We are recruiting, not just recruiting, but we're doing that local government by local government, not just local government by local government, but within that same local government there will be spread. And such names were published recently for traditional rulers, eminent persons, and all communities to state if any of this is impersonating or is not fit to be. And that is a step. Lack of the required number of police to a person as per the United Nations or international standard is not an excuse. I would rather say that we are coming to terms with reality that this kind of situation can occur, and we're perfecting and we're also collaborating. I can assure you that it isn't the number of men.
Yes, so we'll put up this question because the population is growing, right? And because it is growing, that's why we have many more criminals, operating, and the country is huge. All right, now what happened to community policing?
Community policing has been emphasized, but not the community policing that is lifted somewhere in England or in America and then domiciled.
Why is our own different? What should we do?
Ours must be that which, when we talk about the community in terms of using traditional rulers, in terms of cultivating this eminent persons forum, the youth, the students, market women, then we're doing real policing, community policing, asking the people what their security challenges are and how may we also, solve that. They bring the solution, we ask what they want and we give it to them. This is what is community policing in real terms, particularly in Nigeria.
Is there any way we can adopt a system of community policing that is working elsewhere? Is it an impossibility for us to do that here if it is working elsewhere?
If it is working elsewhere and we have the same template here and the same scenario, of course, yes, but you know that you cannot lift a community policing system in another country, whether developed or underdeveloped, and bring in here and just put it as stereotype. We can actually make, we want it to be adopted to the conditions of this country so that members of the public will participate.
Yes, when they say community policing, is about community being part of security, as you rightly pointed out in some of your submissions. Now, you are heading the police security team in Southern Kaduna.
Yes.
What's the situation now?
I just came in from Southern Kaduna yesterday, and I've also taken a look. We've done a deployment, and I can assure you too that the communities that hitherto were sacked, particularly at Pandogari, we went beyond that, and Awala, where we have a joint operation. I can tell you that the problem in Niger, with a very vast mass land, it's that forest that spanned from Zamfara through Ansadao, coming into Birnin Gwari in Kaduna, and locking into places like Katari. This thick forest is not motorable in most of the places, but you see, the bandits, like I call them, have studied the terrain so much because they've lived and walked and, carry out some activities there. We are cultivating support from people like Yan Sakai. We are also cultivating from also people that are also the vigilante. And then we have a lot of plainclothes that a lot of people are volunteering, particularly in Muya, in Dansadao. We went to Shiroro. Yesterday I was in Eniran after Shiroro. And with all this deployment, we also want to collaborate. We want to take the fight, but we don't want to disclose exactly what we intend to do. We're doing this in collaboration with the military. We're doing it with other security services, and I think there's a lot of there's some improvement, and people now go back to their farms.
Yeah, once there's an attack, there's always a response from security agencies, and after that, what next? Because by the time they leave, the place remains open. People can still go back and do what they were doing because these are vast areas. These are communities who live far away from the city centers, and somehow security is not guaranteed based on the extent of the land, the scape, and where people are living. People live comfortably in the villages where they can have access to farmland. And that means they're in remote areas, and it is easier for all these bandits to have access to them, and not not easy for you to sustain the security in those areas on permanent basis. What can be done about that?
Yes, you know too that there is no country that will be able to provide police in every members of the family or a community. But there could be visibility policing, and that's why we're emphasizing the issue of identifying some flash points. If you go now, you will see a lot of patrol vehicles dotted. But we have also added the fact that they must be properly supervised so that they do not take that vehicle to go and feed and come back. Where also the government is supportive, and I can assure you too that we cannot get to every community and put police. But the community must cultivate the habit of being police for themselves and getting to know their police and interacting and collaborating with them through the platform that we circulate numbers. And that's what I've been receiving in Mina.
All right, thank you very much. And that's invariably means that we can also have our own type of community policing. I think that will help you a great deal. Though, let's end up the conversation for now, for want of time. Right, and I want to thank you for sharing your wealth of experience in policing with us on the show tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I have been speaking with the Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations, Habila Joshak. Thank you one more time.
Thank you.
And to sports now, or rather, let's take another break before that.
Oh, you're in luck. It's happy hour. So, you want a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
Does your antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid? Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. So why take a risk with some love?
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Geoni M6, carry out anything on that list. Starting now. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Geoni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge.
Geoni M6, always in power.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Rivers Angels Football Club of Port Harcourt wins third consecutive Nigeria Women Football League title as Rafael Nadal and Serena Williams reached last 16 at the Australian Open. Kene Imabodike brings us more on Sports Update.